Miatas at the Gap. It's all about high octane, ripping through mountain roads, seeing some of the most famous and crazy builds up close and personal, and just generally enjoying the Miata community as a whole. And this year was particularly special for me because not only did I get to drive a V8 Miata for the first time, I got to drive two V8 Miatas. And I also fed incredibly spicy chicken wings to all of your guys' favorite vendors. It's tradition around here to put a little dab on the last wing. Oh, that's the color. I feel fuzzy. What's up, everybody? It's Greg Peters with the Car Passion channel here, and if you own a Miata and you don't know what Miatas at the Gap is, picture this. Over 1,200 Miatas all in the same place at the same time. Every major vendor in the game. I'm talking Fly Miata, Super Miata, Fab9 Tuning, Exomotive, K-Power Industries, Spinny Whoosh, Beer Money Motorsports. You pick your favorite vendor, they are most likely going to be at Miatas at the Gap. Now combine all of that with some of the most incredible mountain driving roads in all of the country, specifically a little road called Tail of the Dragon. Now Tail of the Dragon is 318 turns over just 11 miles, and that's just going one way. So if you go round trip on that road, you're doing over 600 tight, on-camber, banked turns on fresh asphalt through some of the most beautiful mountainsides in North Carolina and Tennessee. Now, as per usual, I just kind of booked a ticket with no real plan in place because I never know what kind of opportunities are going to present themselves at these events, and I don't want to really lock myself in for anything, but I definitely got to enjoy a few fun things. To kick things off, Stefan with Napp Motorsports let me get my first crack at the Dragon in their NC Miata. But not just any NC. This thing is the epitome of natural aspiration, while remaining a pretty realistic build that just about anyone could do themselves. It's got the Duratec 2.5 liter swap, of course, but stacked on top of that are a set of Brian Crower Stage 2 cams and Gen V individual throttle bodies. Now, keep in mind, this is a public road, and it was damp, and I had a passenger, and this isn't even my car, so I'm not going for any lap records here, but I just want to give you an idea of how awesome this road is, hear the car scream a couple times, and maybe put just enough heat on this M2 to make him blow a charge pipe or something.
So just heads up, we found leaving it in third generally does work on it. Second sometimes if you feel that you need it.
stop.
Yeah,
We
fair.
can pull out here and turn around. Oy.
Literally got spaced it.
Yeah. Now, moving on to the 400 plus horsepower range, I got to drive two of the most unique V8 swapped Miatas in existence, and each of them are very unique in their own ways. They're not your typical junkyard LS swaps. Now, a couple quick notes. My forward-facing GoPro seppuku'd itself about 10 seconds after I started recording, so it's face cam only, and you're not really going to be able to hear much of our talking in the car, but I let both of the owners kind of go through the highlights of their build after we finished the drives. So if you're interested in kind of what went into these cars and some of the specificities about them, there's a little clip coming up after the drives. So here's that footage. I am with Mike from Chatham CNC. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it.
That is exactly how I pronounce it.
And you may not know the name at first immediately, but I feel like you guys are going to recognize the car. This is possibly one of the craziest Miata builds I've ever seen, been in, and now driven. First V8 experience, so I had to capture it here. And Mike, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
I appreciate the drive.
It just wants to go. Like,
Yeah, like
it's already like a drastically different experience from a turbo car.
it's completely different. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a different experience. Like, go in the dark right now.
Yeah, it's like, it's confidence inspiring because it's like
The power's there.
yeah, instant. It's just right there, right at 2600.
Put it to 6 right now. Give me gas. It still goes.
The ARs are definitely still
That's it. Oh, he's like a mess. So when this road straightens out, hit it.
straight as an arrow.
When we get to the end and you know 1, 2. Yeah, turn around. It's basically fly shifting all the time.
That is crazy. It's like, it's so like, it's like savage but controllable. Like it's not mellow at all, but it's like if the car just goes straight and does what kind of doesn't do anything unexpected. Okay, I am with Zach. I just got out of Mike's car from Chatham CNC, mean LS swap car. I'm going back to back from Mike's car into Zach's car, which is not your traditional V8 Miata. It's actually an LT out of a 6th gen Camaro, is that right?
Right.
So, and you said there's only 2 swaps so far.
Two
LT
LT
swaps.
Yep.
So this is an extremely unique car. Mike claims this car is much more well put together than his. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
It's more of a daily.
Mike's car felt great. Don't know if I could daily it. Maybe not like 3-4 hour trips, but I'm gonna drive Zach's now and see how it is. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Sure.
That is the world's heaviest clutch.
Yeah, it's a real one.
You guys go ahead. I'm not going to start until you guys go.
Okay.
That way I don't ruin the video.
Oh, what do I need to
Push
do?
further in on the clutch.
Woo!
Yeah, right?
sound like, I'm just like, whose car is that coming from?
Yeah, it's got enough torque. You can usually just let out on the clutch, and you know.
Instantly so different in like 2 seconds. You can tell it's a different powertrain.
Yeah, the torque comes on much earlier.
Much heavier steering.
Yep.
I have a deep-powered power rack in mine,
Yeah,
which
this
is
is
pretty heavy as well.
Yeah, this is NB factory manual steering.
That is quite heavy. That is just right there.
Yeah. When you're ready to party, it's down.
You can tell right off the bat that this is an OEM level tune. Like
Yeah.
it's not that Mike's car is poorly tuned, but you can just tell there's a stark difference in the low speed, low RPM drivability. The power grows like super linear with the pedal travel. Just immediate.
Yeah.
My brain is just like, okay, you're gonna have to wait for the turbo to spool up here, so get in it early.
Yeah, this car, be careful what you wish for because it happens now. You got it.
See ya.
What do you think?
Do I need one?
No one needs one.
Fourth. No big deal.
So it has the Camaro muffler on the back, which has active flaps.
Okay.
I haven't hooked those up yet. The flaps are open now.
Okay.
So the prospect of having it even quieter is
For a street car, that's
Very fun.
awesome, yeah. Oh, hello, cousin. Let me see if I can pull us into the shade here.
all right.
I don't know if I'm getting old, but I'm like more impressed with the low RPM drivability, the street car-ness of the whole thing.
Yep.
And I mean, top end
Yep.
power is top end power, but it's like so impressive how well it drives.
Yep, and that's kind of was my inspiration. You know, I've had builds and stuff, and you can have a good street car, you can have a race car, and if you go to a race car, the streets are pretty rough. And something like this, I just wanted a good balance. You know, factory engine and all that. It's not stress. It's good.
And like you can do that all day, every day, and it's like it's
Oh,
even
yeah.
less stress than if it was in a Camaro.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, that's so good. I just drove both of these cars, and I'm most surprised at how different they are. I didn't think two V8 Miatas could be this different, but we're gonna go through the builds briefly with the owners of these cars who gracefully let me drive them right now through. We're out at Miatas at the Gap, and they just let a random stranger canyon run these high-powered V8 cars. I want to start with Mike's car. Mike, Chatham CNC I'm going to link his information down in the description of this video. Mike, before we get into the car, what kind of work do you look for as far as like your CNC business, or what kind of parts do you like to make?
I like to balance it out, do 50-50, sell products that I design, make, sell. I do intake manifolds, I do Honda intake manifold conversions, B-series intakes, and put them onto Miatas. I do throttle body adapters, and I'm always looking for new products to develop. One, I'm going to be doing solid steering rack mounts, that kind of stuff, but also the other 50% is custom. Folks who come to me and say, hey, I need this doodad out of my car, I am happy to design that, help them make it, and provide that to them. I'm a mechanical engineer for the past 15 years before my shop, and I want to leverage my mechanical engineer experience to get people something that's more than just fabric cobbled in a garage. I want something polished, and I want to be able to deliver that kind of stuff.
And you're doing the design work and the machining, everything all yourself.
I am happy to do design work, machining all myself. If somebody has a design, they've worked on something, I'm happy to make that come to life. So I'm perfectly happy.
I know a lot of you guys out there are probably looking for custom bits and pieces, so reach out to Mike if you are looking for something like that. I'm sure he'd be able to help you out. He's got incredible skills, as we're about to see. I'm sure a lot of you recognize this car. I wanted to start with the hood down because immediately you can notice something very special is going on here. Mike, if you would pop the hood, which V8 variant is this?
This is a LS1 out of a 2004 GTO. I took the engine, it's a stock bottom end that I freshened up with new bearings in. Everything on the top end is CNC ported heads, aftermarket intake, 1 3/4 inch headers going into a dual 3-inch, single 4-inch exhaust. So everything on the top end is a full bolt-on. It's putting down 460 to the wheels and 404 foot-pounds of torque.
And that torque is available very, very early on, much quicker and much earlier than I'm used to in a turbo car. Obviously, a completely different driving experience. What transmission and diff setup do you have linked up to this thing?
It's a T56 out of the same GTO. It's slightly different than the T56 that folks usually F body. It's geared a little bit higher, so I had to compensate 323 rear end. It's a Cadillac Get Back rear end. Overall, the way it's geared, it's very similar to a C5 Corvette. That with smaller wheels and tires. It's a very nice broad gear range where every single gear has a lot of miles an hour.
It's meaningful.
Yeah. So I strongly feel that the real benefit of V8 swapping in Miata is not the engine, not the power. It's how usable the gears are. They're just everything for smaller cars designed to rev to the moon, and nothing's really available that's able to have usable gears.
This engine and drivetrain package just makes it an incredible street car. High power, but very, very usable. And side note, the Getrag 323, same diff I have in my Miata, so if this thing hasn't broken it yet, I don't think I have anything to worry about. So the elephant in the room here is this crazy looking suspension design that you can see through the hood. I'm sure it's the main point of conversation when people walk up to this car. It's a very polarizing topic, I think. People either love it or hate it. So what's your motivation behind this? Why did you go to this design?
The motivation is I'm a fabricator, machinist first, and car guy second. Cars are something that lets me get my passion of making stuff out there. It gives me a purpose to make this stuff. It really all started with my friend Jay holding a shock over my engine saying, hey, that looks kind of cool. And we went with it. It's fully designed, it has benefits, but like you said, it's polarizing, but when I'm making something essentially for attention, for something that it's a showpiece, there's no such thing as bad attention. There's bad publicity.
Certainly,
so I enjoy having it. It starts a conversation. Now, that being said, there are actual benefits. Long story short, the candy lever allows me to have more suspension travel, and it gives me a very strong rising rate, which really helps with compliance on the road. It lets it take potholes and that kind of stuff on the road very well, very compliant, but still be very race car stiff when you want it to be.
I concur. The car rides extremely well, especially considering it's an NA chassis, which I've been in tons of NAs that do not ride well. So it's very impressive.
And in terms of fabrication, so I'm actually most proud of the stuff that's under the car. Everything in this car that's not stock I made myself, so subframes, exhaust, it's fully seam welded, fully rewired, repainted, re-undercoated. Everything is basically done from scratch, and it really is a show.
Okay, so Mike has just popped the trunk here, and in the rear we've also got a very special suspension setup. So is this kind of the same idea back here, or?
Exactly the same idea. I'm inherently a lazy person, and so I took the geometry from the front and applied it straight to the back. It does everything the same, except it's a different spring rate, just to match, kind of get the balance of the car. While you're back here, if you're able to look underneath the car, the stuff that I'm proud of.
Yeah, and I'll take stuff from your Instagram also, or you can send me stuff too, so we can get a little bit like higher definition views of what's going on under here. But I remember the first time I saw this exhaust, just everything under here. You can see that tubular subframe. Got the Getrag diff stuffed up in there. And then in place of where the coilover normally would be, there's a push rod, which is what actuates this through that cantilever. I haven't even barely paid attention to like the amazing wheel and tire set. There's like just so much going on with this car. It's a 275/35 AR1, all four corners. Very well handling car, obviously, with 275s up front. Electronic power steering conversion. Who did you say the power steering conversion's by?
I did the power steering conversion. It's a full Chevy Equinox rack, column that I incorporated in. It's actually probably one of maybe two that has a tilting rack in the Miata, but it does.
That is awesome.
I also have the Mega Sport lives under
airbags. We don't have time for airbags. We have MS Pro.
The engine is designed to come out real easy. The whole wiring harness is on barrel connectors. I could disconnect the whole wiring harness and pull all of that right off if I want to. Same goes for the water hoses, radiator hoses, everything. It's made to drop right out with minimum amount of work.
That's a lot of foresight there. That I think the stuff that's maybe harder up front but pays off in the long run.
Yeah, I know that I'm probably going to make a mistake, and I want to make it easy for myself to fix these mistakes.
Well, I appreciate you greatly speaking about your car, letting me check it out, letting me drive it, obviously, trusting a random person from the internet to pilot such a beast on twisty canyon roads.
You have a great resume.
I appreciate it. Now, moving on. This is Zach's V8 car, and notice I have not said LS car because there's something very special under the hood of this thing. Relatively stock appearance on the outside. Let's take a look at what I consider the highlight of this car, if you would pop the hood.
Certainly.
And this not only is one of the cleanest V8 swaps I've ever seen, and by clean in this sense I mean it looks factory, it looks OEM, it looks like it belongs in there. And this is actually an LT1 from a 6th gen Camaro, and Zach has told me that there are only 2 of these swaps that have been completed. Very new stuff here. What made you want to go this route? Were there any struggles with it? How'd you acquire the engine? Anything that people would want to know about this swap in particular?
So I was actually looking at a LS3 conversion. I was bidding on, I wanted a wrecked car so I could get all the accessories with it. I kept bidding on LS3 Camaros. They kept going higher than I wanted to pay, so I thought I'll throw a bid on a 6th gen, a couple 6th gen, see what would happen. And then I won one, and I thought, it's a GM V8, there can't be much different. And the more I read, the more I realized it was very different. So suddenly I had a lot more homework than I originally thought. But also I wanted to be on something where, as time goes on, there will be more products made for this generation of engine, so it's really on the leading edge of it.
Because you were doing something that essentially hasn't been done before, what were some of the key struggles with getting this engine to not only fit but actually function properly in this chassis?
It was a lot of trial and error, what accessories would work, what the tuning solution was going to be, whether it would fit was the main one. And so once we were able to finally get it in the car and know that it would fit, then it was kind of a game of which accessories would I run and that sort of thing. And then tuning was a big issue too. There's a lot more readily available information for an LS car, and this was early on. I bought their donor in 2018, so there were books on how to tune an LS, and then when it was LT, it was more of, well, we think this is how it works, and this has shown promise and that sort of thing. So the resources available were a little bit more of a challenge.
And you said these were custom built, the headers were custom built in the car?
Yes, the headers were built on the car. Then we took them off. I got them ceramic coated, again, because I wanted something that would help with longevity, would look great also. They've held up awesome, and hopefully get a little bit more heat out of the engine bay.
The transmission package, I know you said it's not from the Camaro. What clutch setup did you go with? It's a brutally stiff clutch. And then what transmission setup?
So it's a Magnum F transmission behind a tilting clutch.
Standard interruptions here at the Dragon.
So Magnum F transmission, tilting clutch, has the same Getrag 323 rear end, and it shifts really nicely. That's one thing I liked about having a new Magnum F as opposed to what it is usually run. I just wanted a little bit better shift feel. I had a first gen CTS-V with an older T56, and it was a little rougher shifting that I wanted in a Miata especially. So I was really happy with the better feel of a more modern approach.
And this is essentially as it came out of the Camaro, aside from the headers, looks like the intake manifold, but the tune is just OEM Chevrolet.
It's slightly tweaked, but yes, mostly I've not been in the engine. I've changed, as you mentioned, the intake manifold. Of course, we had to do headers, but everything else is sealed, other than the oil pan, of course, because I had to change that. Everything else is sealed from the factory. It has not even been opened.
Yeah, it's like I have more decisions to make, more to add to my decision process on what the heck am I going to build next here on the Car Passion channel. Zach, thank you. Mike, thank you very much. And that is all for this. Well, I definitely don't want a V8 any less after driving those cars. And I know I've said before on the channel that if the BP in the red car does die, V8 in some form is like definitely the #1 swap. Just imagine the same power with so much extra reliability. I know that's always been the allure of V8 swaps, but as far as like rowdiness is concerned, those cars were relatively similar to mine, but just a totally different experience. Anyways, that doesn't even matter right now. The BP in the Miata is perfectly healthy and running great, so I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Before we get to the wing challenge, I do want to take just a moment to thank all of my beautiful patrons. You guys' support particularly helps with stuff like this, where I'm able to buy a plane ticket and just fly across the country and go meet dozens and dozens of you. Yes, you, the viewer. I met so many people, I lost my voice over the weekend. I'm also able to talk to so many different vendors in person, which can lead to collaborations and just generally awesome content for the channel. So all my current patrons are on screen right now. Thank you again. And if you're interested in supporting the Car Passion channel through Patreon or other avenues, you can find that information in the description of this video. Now, one thing that was a little bit planned out, and by planned out, I mean like hours before I arrived, is my friend Corey, Ed with Super Miata, and Daniel from Boffy Racing thought that since somebody brought the full hot sauce lineup from Hot Ones Season 22, it would be a good idea to get all the vendors at the event lined up with a bunch of spicy wings for a Hot Ones style challenge. And they all thought that I should be the host. Now, I love the show Hot Ones, and I love spicy things in general. So funny. Anyways, what was I saying? I love Hot Ones, I love spicy things, but I am not a fan of public speaking, improvisation, being in front of a crowd, or just general social situations, if you could believe it. So before I had time to think about it, I said yes. Now I'd like to extend a huge shout out to Travis with Flying Miata. He's actually the one who captured the majority of this footage that you're about to see, and without him, this video wouldn't really exist. So show your support for Flying Miata. Head to their website after this video and just buy yourself like a keychain or something, and type in the comments how much you love them. Anyways, I'm gonna go grab a glass of milk now. Let's check out that Hot Ones challenge. What's up, everybody? I'm Greg Peters with the Car Passion channel, coming at you from Miatas at the Gap 2024. And what we have here is a little hot wing challenge. Some of you may be familiar with the little show called Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. And I don't know how many of those taglines I'm gonna be able to steal before I get a cease and desist letter, but we're gonna give it a shot anyways. I have in front of me some of the biggest vendors, some of the biggest names in the entire Miata community. And I've got some burning questions for them. A set of questions that's been craftfully procured over several weeks of research. Actually, it was just a group of us at 1 a.m. last night in the Airbnb, and then everybody decided I should host it, so I'm not nervous at all. The rules are simple. For those familiar with Hot Ones, we did have to modify the format a little bit since there's so many people here, but everyone has 5 progressively spicier chicken wings. I will be the one to tell you when it's time to eat the next wing, and I have at least one question for each vendor at the table. Thumbs up, thumbs down, everyone at the table, how are we with spicy food? Okay, good mix. I think we're ready. The last rule, very serious. Most people forget, do not touch your eyes. I have a plate of wings as well, so I have to suffer with everybody. We're gonna start on wing 1. You don't necessarily have to eat the entire wing, but I do encourage that you at least get a good bite to experience the sauce, okay? We're trying to get everybody a little bit of a heat high by the end of this. And if you don't know what that is, then you're in for a great experience.
Where are the gloves? My heart is pounding. We're not handing out gloves?
Yeah, are we ready?
Wait, are we not handing out gloves?
No.
It's too late, Ed. Okay, we're gonna start with wing 1.
We're supposed to do this. Eating so fast right now.
I'm gonna try to chew and then ask questions. Wing 1 is Angry Goat. This is a 2 out of 10 as far as what we have as heat here. I wanna start with Rob, with Built by Hutch. You are very creative and have some of the most interesting trinkets that are Miata themed that come out from your company. One of my favorites is the NA Tombstone bottle opener. My question for you is, what is your favorite part in general about the Miata community?
I mean, more about this event. You come here and like everybody's happy to be here. Everybody's like out to help everyone else. You see someone on the side of the road, you go help. People do that for you. For me, last night, changing a throw-up bearing. So I like the camaraderie and I love the just the happiness the community has.
Same. I think a lot of people here have that same sentiment. Alex, how many Miatas have you parted out or sent to the scrapyard? Rough estimate.
Over 600.
So you knew off the, but
Over 600.
and maybe some of those could have come back to life, but I think it's for the better because those cars being parted, I think, have resulted in a lot of other people's cars staying on the road.
Every car is a parts car.
I like that. I like that. Okay, wing 2. This is a decent step up. Initially, this question was going to be for Jesse with Beer Money, but we have another tuner in the house, Daniel. So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Pops and Bangs tunes?
The bigger the flames, the better.
Okay, and do you recommend people don't get them for any reason?
Yeah, they tend to break stuff really quickly.
Well, people don't really care, they want flames. The next question is for Justin with Miata Hubs. What is the most intensive or most impressive roadside or trackside repair that you've made to a car?
Oh man, you know, we started out doing endurance racing in the NA Miata, and you know, all the time we were obviously changing hubs and brakes and things out throughout that. Probably the most impressive repair we've ever done was a blown motor swap right there in the paddock in just a matter of 3 or 4 hours. And so, you know, brutally hot, probably down in Alabama, Barber Motorsports area. And
humid too.
Getting that swapped out. Yeah, the humidity is a killer. So, yeah, swapping an engine trackside is no joke.
That's, yeah, very impressive achievement. I don't think too many people can claim that one. Kevin, can you tell me the scariest moment you've ever had in a Miata?
Probably off-road. Probably the off-road in the Exocet off-road. Probably going way too fast over a tabletop and coming way over the end of it and landing almost nose in to the ground over at Durham Town outside of Atlanta in Conyers, Georgia.
There's like a whole new axis you have to be concerned with the off-road Miatas because now you have up and down to be concerned with, judging your speed and trying to go off of things.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready for wing 3. Everybody? Everybody take a nice big bite of wing 3.
So what's the sauce for wing 3? This is a whiskey ghost?
Whiskey smoked ghost.
Whiskey smoked ghost.
Okay, in case you guys are not aware, we have an extra special guest with us that has come across the pond all the way from the UK. And over in the UK, the spiciest thing they eat is salt. So, Daniel, what is the best generation of Miata and why is it the NC? You're sweating, are you okay?
What are you putting that, Mike? So the NC is the best car. It's not the best Miata, is it?
I can't confirm or deny. This is your question.
So I don't know. For me, being right-hand drive, we kind of got screwed over a bit because the left-hand drive NANB, the exhaust side, makes it more difficult for you guys to boost it. For us, it's easy. The NC, it's painful for us. So I'm like, I got brake masters and stuff in the way. Everything gets hot. It doesn't work properly. So I'm less in love with it because you can't make 400 horsepower as easily. Is that okay?
That is a bummer, but hopefully there will be some solutions so everyone can enjoy the joy of a boosted NC, because NCs really they're excellent cars. Don't let the boat sayers tell you anything otherwise. Mike, with Flying Miata. This might cause the crowd to get riled up just a little bit, so no pressure. Which is the better engine and why? The 1.8 or the 1.6?
Skip them. 2 liter. Okay, 1.8.
Okay, why is it better?
Why is it better?
Yes,
Oh,
just brief. Just give me like a couple bullet points. Why is it a better engine?
Because it's the engine that Ethan doesn't have. We've got a 1.6 purist at our team, so
Oh, okay. Are the 1.6 purists justified though? Is it still a good engine? It just has like a little bit of it's a little anemic, but still a good engine. Is that?
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah. No, I mean if your engine's healthy, boost it.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's for the internet trolls. Whatever you do, boost it. Whatever you have that's healthy, force them to touch it. That's the real answer.
Yeah. Yes. There we go.
He said 1.8 clearly.
I heard 1.8. We're moving on to Wing 4. And I have to warn you that there is a significant ramp up in heat with Wing 4.
Sauce number 4.
The sauce is called Da Bomb Beyond Insanity.
This is that one, yeah.
Why ain't nobody picking it up?
Cheers. Going in.
I'm just gonna let it sink in a little bit before I start asking questions.
That one hit a bit harder.
Can we get just a brief round of applause for the Brit who just cleaned the Da Bomb wing? Okay, I think this would be an appropriate time to ask Ali with AWR if, aside from any Miata that you or the shop owns, whose car would you like to own? And give me like a reason why you think it's special.
I don't know if people like me for this. I'd
Wings.
say one of the 600 that Alex Todd has sent me in junkyard.
That was well thought out and definitely did not hurt anybody's feelings. Brian, how are you doing?
Sinking in.
Okay, I would like to ask you, if you could pick just one tool that you would have to keep in your Miata, what is that tool and what is the thing that you would typically use it for? Yeah, just take a big old bite of number 4 to catch up with everybody.
I would say like a multi. Does that count as a single?
That works, because you can fix potentially a lot of different things with it. Yeah, 10 mil for sure. Yeah, definitely. Now that Johnny's here, you're a huge proponent, obviously, of people putting sizable wangs on their car. How important is downforce to track-driven Miatas?
It's okay.
A cupcake already?
Already nothing.
What?
Stefan, how are you doing? You look a little sweaty.
Not good.
I have a question for you. Just one question.
You're taking one bite.
What is the most awkward thing that's ever happened to you that somehow involved Miatas?
So 3 years ago, Greg drove my K-Swap, and we went to fill it up with gas at the gas station down here. Okay. And I used the old lever-style gas pump, and somebody had left the handle clicked. So as I flipped the lever, went to go put the gas pump in the Miata, I put about a gallon of gas down Greg's entire side of my car. Nice. When it was hot, it was great. Yeah, it never lets me forget it.
You know, sometimes spraying gasoline on people leads to the best friendships, am I right? We are now moving on. We're now moving on to the last wing. It's tradition around here to put a little dab on the last wing. All of these wings have been pre-dabbed. I'm gonna go ahead and dab my own wing. All the vendors' wings have been pre-dabbed.
So we have to eat the dab?
You have to eat the dab.
Dab. That's as healthy a dab as anyone. Eat that wang.
Cheers.
Nobody, come on. Eat that wang. All right, Johnny. Cheers, bro.
Right off the dab? Oh, no, sorry. That was the deal?
No, sweet.
Yes.
I'm not spitting it out, just wiping my mouth.
Oh, that is not good. It does not taste good.
Check his napkin.
David, can you tell us, in your opinion, what is the worst part about Miata ownership?
It's like, it's if you're 6'4" and you try to fit it in the and you gotta cut everything out and lower the floor or whatever. If you like small cars but you're not short, that's the worst part. I wish I liked bigger cars, but lightweight cars are much better. So, gosh, this is hot, huh?
And look, you've still created a company around Miatas, even though you don't yourself really fit into them.
No, it's still getting worse, man. I gave one of these at the beginning.
Muffins are $20 a piece.
I'm in trouble.
Okay, I have a question for you.
I ate all my wing.
My face is on more fire than mine. Like all of this is on fire.
It's down in my throat. I'm legitimately very uncomfortable.
If you could not own Miatas, what would be a car you would choose to replace Miatas?
I just live on two wheels. Thanks, bro.
They're just motorcycles.
All right, be an S2000.
Little S2000. Okay, I guess that's a good substitute. Mark, how are you? Okay, question for you. I think that's it. Have we gone through everybody? What is the most pointless modification someone can make to a Miata?
Like some really bad, stiff coilovers on it and slam it to the ground.
Okay, Stan's crowd is not going to be happy with that one. But I feel like a lot of people will agree, and everyone's entitled to their own opinions, how they want to build their cars. Basically the opposite of Zeta's, right, Ed?
What?
Ed has gone to a new dimension. I think that's about all we have time for. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Vendors, I have special news for you. I know you guys enjoyed this, but you're about to enjoy it again in 12 to 24 hours. It's got a half-life. It's got a half-life, Ed. You just got to let it work through. It'll calm itself down.
I'm not okay. Poor Ed. By the way, I thought you were from like Southern.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you for coming, everybody.
That's the third one. No, you only use one hand.
How you doing?
And this hand is 14. Don't put it down your pants.
Well done.
Whatever you do, do not touch your penis.
This one was pulling up our arms on air, and that was pretty good.
I used the last one.
I did it though.
After I saw it. I washed my hands, sauced it. Those are good wings, though. That's what you get for stealing hard top off me.
Fine. I'll do it again. I'll sell it to you.
Sorry, Alan. You look so
I think it's on the decline.
Yeah,
I feel foggy.
just my lips and my stomach.
I just feel like fingertips are tingling. Forehead, my ears, my lips.
Oh, that's the color.
I feel fuzzy.
Yeah,
All over.
That last one had it.
All right, guys. Well, that is it for my little piece together Miatas at the Gap 2024 video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully, I'll see some of you guys the next time I make it out there, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.